Hey guys, I'm BSC1 again, and today I used Hydreigon at my league, and I thought I would show you guys my list. I took second place. I really should have taken first, but I'll explain at the end of the video why I got second. 7 out of 8 times I should have won that game, but my opponent just got super lucky. But I'll explain that later. Right now, I'll just get into the list. So we'll start with a Pokemon. The Pokemon's the most fun part of the deck. Hydreigon is a very techie deck if you want to make it that way. So it's got a bunch of one-ofs that are really interesting. So for the Dino, we just have 3. You can do 4 if you like, but I decided to cut my 4th for 1 level ball so that I can Skylar for level ball if I want to do that. We have just 1 of the Dark type. The reason we have 1 Dark type is so if this is the only thing on your bench, you can Dark Patch to it. That's really the only reason. We have 2 of these just because it's not weak to fighting like this one is. And Landorus can one-shot it, this one if it's active, so we have 2 of these just to make it harder for Landorus to knock it out. Plus these are kind of cooler. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it has a little first place symbol thing here for me winning a tournament. So it's really cool that they give these out. Plus the artwork is, look at that artwork, it's freaking awesome. So anyway, I've got these, that's my Dino line. It's only 3. It's a little bit light, but most Hydreigon decks run a fairly light Hydreigon line. We have 1 Zweilous. I find this is really cool if I get my Dinos out and I haven't used my level ball and then I draw into a level ball, I can level ball for Zweilous. This is just good for setting up other Hydreigon. Plus it actually has a very good attack. Drawn for 1 colorless energies, you attach 2 dark energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So if your opponent isn't very set up yet, you can use draw in to get 2 energy into play, which is actually very good. Yeah, and it just helps getting Hydreigon out more of the time so that you don't need rare candy every time. This might bother you, but I have 3 different artworks. Well, I guess those are the same, but that's reverse all on the Teller. So we just have 3 Hydreigon. This is pretty much standard in Stage 2 decks. You usually just run 3 copies of whatever the Stage 2 is. This is just to make sure I can get Hydreigon out as fast as possible. I find I get Hydreigon out turn 2 or 3 pretty much every game. It never really takes longer than that. So this is that's really why. Oh, one other thing. So the reason why Hydreigon, in my opinion, is better than Aromatisse is because, well, I'll show you. Dragon Blast is an amazing attack. It might not seem like it, but it does 140, and then you discard 2 Dark attached to it, but that is actually really good, because that works really well with Darkrai, because he does 30 damage to the bench, so you do 30 damage to an EX, and then when you promote it, you Dragon Blast it for 140, and it knocks it out. Also, I run 1 Bangle in the deck because you can put a Bangle on it and then one-shot an EX using Dragon Blast. And since this Pokemon is 150 HP, it's going to be kind of hard to one-shot. So a lot of the time, you'll knock out something and they won't be able to come back with a knockout and attack it. There was one time today where I took 3 knockouts using this Hydreigon. I did 90 and 30 to the bench on one other Pokemon, and then when they promoted that Pokemon, I Dragon Blasted it for knockout, and then on the next turn, I just Dark Patched and attached an energy, and then I had 4 energy, and I had just as much energy in play as the last turn, and then attached a Silver Bangle and knocked out a Pokemon, and then on the next turn I did the same thing and knocked out another EX. So I just took 6 prizes in 3 turns using this Hydreigon. It's very good. 150 HP is like the highest of any Stage 2 except for Charizard, I think, but no one plays Charizard anyway. So it's very beefy, super good attack. I love this Pokemon so much, and I'm so glad they reprinted it in Legendary Treasures. And yeah, I think that's about it. So this deck will be playable after rotation. It's just going to lose a couple things, and I'll explain that after I finish with the list. We just have 2 Darkrai. Darkrai is very, very good in this deck just because it does 90 and 30, and you pretty much just 2-shot anything, and that's really all you need to do because you heal so much damage with Max Potion, and you can just retreat to the other one once one gets damaged. I like 2 because if I have one in the active like this, and it takes damage and I don't have a Max Potion, I can just retreat, transfer the energy to this one, and then finish the knockout with a Night Spear, and they don't take any knockouts. So that's really nice. Also, Dark Cloak is an amazing ability. It gives everything in the deck free retreat because you can just transfer the Dark Energy anywhere and then retreat for free with the Dark Cloak. So, oh yeah, in case you don't know, in case you've never seen a Hydreigon deck before, his ability is any Dark Energy in play, you can move around for free. So say this Darkrai is in the active position, he's got 3 Dark Energy attached to it. If I want, I can move all of those energy to this Darkrai. So it's a very good ability. It's kind of similar to the Blastoise in the way that it's a Stage 2 with energy acceleration. So it's basically like a Dark Blastoise, which is really cool to me. So yeah, just the 2 Darkrai. One Landorus. This is basically to hit, let's see, what's weak to the Landorus? Thundurus, Snorlax, Darkrai, and there's a couple other Pokemon that are weak to fighting. Oh, Raichu, and I believe there's a couple other, but basically, Landorus is to hit those Pokemon for weakness. Also, Hammerhead is good early game. I think this Pokemon is very necessary in the deck. Very necessary in the deck. Hammerhead is very good early game. So you can set up knockouts, you know, with Dragon Blast because it does 30 to active and 30 to the bench. Then Land's Judgment is also very good. It's a very good closer because if you attach a Muscle Band and then you just put 3 energy on it, you can Land's Judgment with a Muscle Band on it. It does 170, so you can take your last prize pretty easily with Landorus that way. Also, if you attach a Muscle Band, it can do 100 with Land's Judgment, which will one-shot anything weak to fighting, besides Kangaskhan, but it's not very played anyway. So yeah, it's very good for those reasons. Also resists electric, so you can wall with this if your opponent's using Thundurus. Yeah, I think that's about it. I just have one copy, but I have one copy of a lot of things because you have a lot of different text to make your matchups against everything good. We have one Cobalion. We have this for a couple reasons. First one, Righteous Edge discards special energy, so this is good against Plasma decks, especially Kyurem and TDK because it's super effective against Plasma Kyurem. With a Muscle Band, you can do 100 to Kyurem, and then, you know, maybe finish the knockout with this, or 30 to the bench with Darkrai. Yeah, it just helps slow down Plasma a lot. Also, Steel Bullet is very good because it's not affected by any of the effects on the defending Pokemon. So if you attach a Muscle Band, you can one-shot Pyroar with Cobalion. Pyroar is not a big problem for this deck, but if it comes down to you not having any Hydreigon in play, or you just really need to knock out a Pyroar, you can do it with this too. Steel Bullet's also very good because it's not affected by any of the effects. Same reason. It can one-shot Suicune too, or any of those Safeguard Pokemon if you don't want to use one of your non-EXs, which I find I don't want to do a lot of the time because they're pretty fragile, because they can just get one-shot and they have 3 energy on them, and you don't want anything with 3 energy on it to get knocked out. So Cobalion is very good for those reasons. It's just another type too. I like to have a lot of different types in this deck so that I have a lot of versatility. We have one Suicune. This is for a couple reasons. Safeguard is the main reason because it can be used as a wall just to prevent your opponent from doing any damage to you. You can just start with this in the active position and just keep that up there while you set up. Also can one-shot Landorus if you attach a Muscle Band or a Silver Bangle to it, so that's very good for that reason. Also can one-shot Charizard with a Muscle Band or Bangle, so that's awesome too, because Aurora Beam does 70 damage. It's also just a water type, so you have more type coverage. 100 HP isn't bad for a Pokemon that has a really good ability like Safeguard, so yeah, I think that's about it. This Pokemon came in handy a lot today. I actually ran 2 copies, but I ended up dropping the second copy. I believe it was for the, let's see, what was it for? It was for Cobalion or Landorus or something like that. Maybe it was for Muscle Band. Either way, I did have 2, and 2 is very good. It's just, you only really need 1. Virizion EX is only used for its ability Verdant Wind. Makes it so that your Pokemon can't be affected by special conditions if they have a grass energy attached to them. So this will basically just stop any lasers, which are very, very problematic if you don't have an answer to them. I used to have Keldeo before Virizion came out, because it could just rush in and retreat and get rid of the status conditions. But I think this is better because with this, you don't take the 30 damage at all from the poison, but with Keldeo, you still do. So Virizion's great for that. Essentially, it makes 4 cards in your opponent's deck if they run lasers just dead. 1 Sableye. This is great because it can junk hunt for 2 max potions, which are amazing in this deck. So yeah, really that's pretty much the entire reason for Sableye, is just so you can junk hunt for those 2 max potions. Also, you can junk hunt for Megaphone. If your opponent's playing Garbodor, there's 2 Megaphone in this deck, so you can Megaphone twice and then junk hunt for 2 Megaphones again. And then if they still have tools that they can put down the Garbodor, you still have 1 Dowsing too. So I think that this deck has a very good matchup against Garbodor decks. I actually haven't tested it much though. I did play against Virizion Genesect, Plasma, and an Aromatisse deck today, so I've tested against all of those, and I feel I have good matchups against all of them. But I'm not sure about the Garbodor matchup. I think if I have 2 Megaphones, a Sableye, and a Dowsing, I should be able to have a good matchup, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. This is also good for grabbing back, what's it called? Dark Patch, because there's only 3 in the deck. You only really need 3 though, because Hydreigon kind of works as your energy acceleration. But if you need more because all of your energy gets wiped out somehow, then you have Sableye to recover it. Also, you can grab a rare candy back if you're in the beginning of a game and you had to discard one, so that you can set up your Hydreigon. Yeah, Sableye is just really versatile. It helps in a lot of situations. And 2 copies would make sense, but I just have the 1 for now. Only 1 Yveltal. A lot of people think 2 would be really good, but the thing is, for this Pokemon to really one-shot anything, you need to load a lot of energy onto it. And I just find that if you load a lot of energy onto it, and then something knocks out your Yveltal, you're just in a really bad position. So I find that I just want to use Darkrai a lot more of the time. So I think that only 1 Yveltal is necessary. And it seems really low, but it's really all you need. This is also just kind of used as a game closer to take the final knockout, kind of like Landorus. But, you know, it's also got Y-Cyclone, so, you know, it's good. It's just not, you just don't need more than 1. And then for the items, we have 3 Dark Patch. You don't need 4, just because you got Hydreigon, so... you know, 3 is all you really need, but if you want to stream those Dragon Bursts, 3 Dark Patch is necessary. I've seen lists with 4, I've seen lists with 2, I've seen lists with 1, I've seen lists with 0. I just think that 3 is probably your best bet. My list is a little bit more aggressive than some other lists. Some other lists have none, and more Safeguarder Pokemon, and just, like, some lists have Dusknoir too, actually. But I just find that I really like 3 Dark Patch because it lets me be a little more aggressive. And it gives me a better late game presence, I feel, too. So, 3 Dark Patch is great. And I thought about adding 4, but I decided to cut it for a second Muscle Band instead. So, for the items, we have 2 Muscle Band and 1 Silver Bangle. This is just for Dragon Burst, so that it can do 170 damage. Also helps with Suicune, so that it can do 100 damage, which is a better number than 90 some of the time. It can help one-shot some things, I guess. Honestly, it doesn't help that much more. It's mostly for Hydreigon. But, yeah, that's mostly for Hydreigon. But it's still really cool for that purpose. And then Muscle Band is just... well, Muscle Band has a lot of purposes. So, Muscle Band works well with Darkrai, because if you snipe the bench twice, that's 60 damage. And then if you Night Spear with that, it adds up to 170. So, that really helps. If you put this with Landorus, you can Land's Judgment for 170 if you discard early energy. Also, Hammerhead does 50. So if there's anything weak to it, you have 100 damage on it, which is a lot better than 60. Cobalion does 100 to cure him if you have a Muscle Band on it with Righteous Edge. So that's a region by itself. Oops, dropped the card, sorry. Suicune hits 90, she'll 2-shot anything, or 1-shot anything weak to water. And then Yveltal just hits 20 more damage, so Yveltal does more damage. So... Muscle Band is very important in this deck. I had 1 today, actually, and I decided that the second one was not necessary, but helps a lot. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much explains it. Then items continued. We have 3 Max Potion. I wanted 4, but I just found that 4 wasn't necessary, and with this list being so packed, you really just need to only have the cards that are necessary. You could take out the Sableye and do a 4th Max Potion, which is what my friend did, but I find that I like 3. I think this is enough. I never really have to discard it. Yeah, all day today, I never discarded a Max Potion without using it to heal at least some damage. So, I think that would happen if I had 4 too, so I'm happy with just 3. And we have 2 Starling Megaphone. This is basically in here for 2 reasons. Basically the 2 reasons that everyone runs Starling Megaphone. To stop G-Booster and to stop Garbodor. That's pretty much it. G-Booster can be a big problem for this deck because anything that one-shots can hurt this deck pretty bad. So Starling Megaphone quickly stops that, and then Garbodor, obviously, you need to use Dark Trance to do well with this deck, so... excuse me. Starling Megaphone will shut that off too. So, sure, turn it back on, I guess, actually. 4 Rare Candy. This is just to get Hydreigon out as soon as possible. Yeah, that's it. Just to get Hydreigon out as soon as possible. Then for the balls, we have 1 Level Ball and 3 Ultra Ball. This is just to grab any Pokemon you need. Level Ball is to grab Zweilous, Sableye, or Dino. This is nice because you can, if you have a Tropical Beach in your hand, you can Skyla for a Level Ball and grab a Dino, and then just play down the Tropical Beach and fill your hand up. The reason I say if you have a Tropical Beach is because if you have a Skyla and you don't have a Tropical Beach, you're probably going to want a Skyla for the Tropical Beach instead. But sometimes you don't. Yeah, so this is nice because you can just Skyla for it. And it just helps set up a lot. 3 Ultra Ball is all you really need. 4 would be nice. Oh, And by the way, when rotation happens, this will turn into a 4th Ultra Ball. But yeah, 3 Ultra Ball is pretty much standard in most decks. Dowsing Machine is the A-spec of choice. Computer Search would also be good, but I like this because it turns into a 4th Max Potion a lot of the time. So yeah, that's really it. 4th Max Potion or 3rd Megaphone if I'm going against Garbodor. Yeah, just a versatile card, really good. For the energy line, we have just 6 Dark, which seems really low, but I have more energy, so yeah, just 6 Dark's all you really need. This is just there so you can Dark Patch it back. Also, you can't Enhanced Hammer this away or anything like that, so I find 6 Darks really good. I'd like to have 7, but 6 works, so I'm okay with this. I never really needed more energy, except for one occasion where I did need 1 more energy, but it wasn't a big deal. And it could have been any energy, it didn't have to be specifically dark. Just 1 blend, I'd like to have 2, but 1 works. This is good for making Hydreigon's Dragon Burst work, because it's Psychic, and Dragon Burst needs 1 Psychic energy for it. Also, Rainbow works for this, but I already have 4 Rainbows, so if you want 1 more, it's got to be either Blend or Prism, and Prism doesn't work with Hydreigon, so I figured Blend was my best bet. So I just have 1 Blend to help consistency with Hydreigon. And then we also have 4 Rainbow. This is very important because without this, I can't use any of Suicune's attacks, Landorus's attacks, or Cobalion's attacks, or Virizian's, if I ever need to use Virizian. So for those reasons, I have 4 of these. This is very important if you're going to run Landorus and Suicune. If you're not going to run Landorus and you're going to run Sigilyph instead of Suicune, you can take these out. You also need to take out Cobalion if you're not going to run these. But I like the versatility and having all those different types, so I think this works. And then for the draw support line, today I didn't run Chorus, but I found it very important to have Chorus, so I put it back in today. Today I actually only used 10 supporters, which is really low. But and if you think that's crazy and it doesn't work, it actually worked pretty well for me today. I did have supporter drains, but it didn't really matter that much because with this deck you kind of can just work with no supporters for a while because you have so much energy in play and just so many Pokemon you can switch to that it works out. So just 1 Chorus to get a lot of cards middle to late game. Yeah, that's about it. 3 Skyla. 4 is pretty standard in Stage 1 decks. I really prefer draw support cards rather than Skyla. So Skyla will grab you 1 thing and you know for sure you'll get it, but I actually usually like to use a draw support card instead so that I can hit more things. It's more of a risk, but I'm okay with that because it just seems like it works out better for me a lot of the time. And then the other bad thing about Skyla is if it's your supporter and you don't have another supporter in your hand, then you have to Skyla for as another supporter, or you're forced to use Tropical Beach. So that's why I only run 3 instead of 4, which is the standard. So yeah, this is very important. It's great for grabbing the piece of the puzzle that you don't have in your hand for Hydreigon. So if say you have a rare candy or an Ultra Ball, but you don't have the other one, so you have an Ultra Ball, you can Skyla for a rare candy. If you have the rare candy, you can Skyla for the Ultra Ball to get the Hydreigon. Also, this can grab Starling Megaphone if I'm going against Garbodor. I can grab Max Potion, which is a big reason why you run 3 Skyla, because you can grab Max Potion. That's very important, because you need your Max Potions when you need your Max Potions. Also, you can grab the 1 Silver Bangle in the deck so that you can use Hydreigon. It makes it a little bit more consistent getting those Silver Bangles. And then I think that's about it. Also, you can grab other supporters, so that's very nice. But yeah, that's why I have 3 Skyla. And this list only has 11 supporters, but you don't really need more than that because you have 3 Tropical Beach. 12 would be nice, but like, yeah, I don't really have room. 3 Juniper instead of 4. This is a really funky, weird draw support line that you won't see in very many other decks. But basically, only have 3 because there's a lot of stuff you want to keep in this deck. You really don't want to discard a lot of your resources that often, so we just have the 3 Juniper instead of 4. I don't really feel like I need a 4th Juniper, so I'm happy with this count. Yeah, I'm happy with this count. Gets you a lot of cards, it's consistent, but you don't want it sometimes, so I like 3. I got 4N here. My friend has my 4th full art. So, yeah, this is just really good because you take a little bit of time to set up in the beginning. Not a ton of time, just a little bit. And so your opponent may take an extra early prize or something like that, so you can just end them down. This is just a staple in every deck. Very good. Not really special in this deck, actually. And then for the stadiums and other draw support, we have 3 Tropical Beach. So this combined with the supporters actually adds up to 14 draw support cards, which is basically standard. So yeah, and this is great for many reasons. Main reason being it helps you set up so you can get the Hydreigon turn 2 almost all the time. Second reason, because it's a counter stadium to stop just anything your opponent puts down as their stadium. And then third reason is because it's great for draw support if you don't have a supporter, or if it's like late game and your opponent ends you to 1 or something like that. So for those reasons, Tropical Beach is very good. I like 3 copies just to make sure I win the stadium or like every game. And yeah, I think that's about it for the list. I'm just going to talk about my games for a little bit today. So the reason why I lost, I'm just going to explain the situation that happened in my last game today. So there was 5 rounds, and out of the 4 rounds, I beat everybody 2-0. So I was 8 wins and 0 losses. I was doing amazing. And then in my 5th round, I'm against this guy. We know that we're going to go against each other because we're the only undefeateds, and we start setting up before time has even started, just so that we'll have all our time, because we both know we're running very slow decks. He's running a Aromatisse, and I'm running Hydreigon, so that means we're both going to be max potioning a lot, and the game is going to take a super long time. There's a 50-minute time limit, and it's best of 3. So the game goes on for a super long time. It's a super fun game, very good. I was on my toes the entire time, had a bunch of fun. But we both get down to 1 prize card, and then time is called. So after we do the plus 0, 1, 2, 3 turns, we still both have 1 prize card left. And what happened is I have my Landorus with a rainbow on it, and I attack, and I do 30 damage to whatever was active, it doesn't really matter, and then 30 damage to his benched Aromatisse and put it at 70 damage total. So I know all I have to do next turn is just Hammerhead 1 more time, and I win. And I feel like I've just got this game locked up. There's no way I can lose anymore. I'm just going to win 1 game, and then there's not going to be any other games because there's no time for them. So I just attack, and it's his turn. He uses N, puts us both down to 1 card. And he says there's 1 way I can win. If I draw the perfect card, I can win. There's 8 cards in his deck, so he just needs to draw this 1 card. He has a 1 in 8 chance of getting it. I cut his deck, and he draws it. He just needs a Darkrai. He puts his Darkrai down, transfers the energy retreats his Pokemon to the benched Cobalion, moves his energy with Aromatisse to Cobalion, and then uses Righteous Edge to discard the rainbow off of my Landorus. So this is the only way that he could win, is if he does that. I think to myself, that's okay. I can still use Darkrai to hit the bench for 30. It'll just take a couple more turns. It'll just beach for a little bit. But after that, he Righteous Edges me. I don't have very many cards left in my deck, but neither does he. He has got 7. I've got probably a little bit less than that and some cards in my hand. I draw, and after we go back and forth as he just Righteous Edges me for like 30 damage very slowly, because I've got so many Pokemon on the bench I can just retreat to whenever something gets damaged. After doing that for like super long time, I realized that I have 2 Dark Energy in play, and there are no Dark Energy left in my deck. I actually thought I had 1 more. I thought I played 12 energy in my deck, but I actually only have an 11. I guess I cut 1 for something else earlier. So I just kept going with the game, thinking that I was just eventually going to hit my Dark Energy, and I don't. And I've got 2 Dark Energy in play, and I can't hit the bench because I just can't get that 3rd Dark Energy in play. I have no Dark Patch left. I don't run Baby Yveltal, so it's like... And so I just lost because he Righteous Edged me and hit the 1 card he needed, which is just bad luck. It's part of the game. It's just going to happen to you sometimes. But I did win yesterday at a Professor Cup style tournament, which is really fun. I got a bunch of cool prizes with that. I got this deck box that's right next to me. These are pretty cool. And then I also got 2 6 prizes dice, $12 store credit, 3 packs, and I think a couple of other things. Oh, and $10. I don't know if I already said that. But anyway, yeah, so that was pretty cool too. If you guys want to see that deck list for the Professor Cup or the deck list for the deck I used at the Professor Cup to win, just put it in the comments or message me or something. I'd totally be willing to give it out. It's not like there's any big tournaments that are Professor Cups anyway that really matter, so it's not like some secret list. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, one more thing actually. This deck's presence after a rotation happens in 3 weeks. I figured I should talk about that a little bit because, you know, you don't really want to run this if rotation happens, or you might not want to. Basically, basically you might not want to run some decks after rotation because a lot of things are going away. So the big things that are going away for this deck are going to be Tropical Beach, which isn't a huge problem. It's kind of a problem, but not a huge problem. Blend Energy, Dark Patch, and Level Ball. I think that's it. Let me just make sure real quick. Yeah. So this is everything that's going away in rotation. That's actually only 8 cards out of the deck, which isn't a big deal. What you can do to fix this is just run 2 or 3 Baby Yveltal. Oh, actually one more card. Sorry, I forgot about the Sableye. Sableye. Okay. So what you can do about this is the easiest one. You just change this out for an Ultra Ball. Problem solved. This just turns into another Dark Energy. It'll hurt your consistency with doing Dragon Burst just a little bit, but it's not too big of a deal. You have 4 Rainbow, so that should be enough. No problem. These all just turn into Draw Supporters, or 2 of them do. So if you want to run 14 Draw Supporters, you can do that, or if you just want to run 13, you can do that. I'll probably do 13 just because I like to play a little bit more risky. I find that it pays off a lot of the time, actually. I place well a lot, and I think it's because I play a little bit more risky and use decks that are okay without using supporters more of the time. So I'd probably just take these out for draw supporters. I'd probably do like a 4th Juniper and maybe a 2nd Chorus, or a 4th Juniper and 1 random receiver, or something like that. I don't really want to run 4 Skyla, but that's what I do with these. So that's not a big problem. It's going to hurt my setup just a little bit, but not too much. This I would just turn into a Shadow Circle, actually, because you have so many different types. Shadow Circle makes it so that anything with Dark Energy attached to it doesn't have a weakness. So you can use, for example, Cobalion can, if it has a Muscle Band, it can one-shot Pyro, and then if you have Shadow Circle in play, they can't knock you out, because Cobalion would normally be weak to fire, so they just come back and knock you out. But with Shadow Circle, they can't. Also just stops Landorus from doing too much damage to Darkrai. Helps a lot of things. It'd only be 1 copy, though, so I don't know if it's worth it. I might have to cut something else to make another spot for Shadow Circle. And then these 2 of these would become Baby Yveltal. Those 2 would become Baby Yveltal, and then these 3, so Baby Yveltal basically just does the same thing as Dark Patch. It accelerates energy to your bench, so that's a pretty good replacement for that. And then these 2 is kind of what I'm stuck on. I'm not sure what I would do about those. Sableye is very good. Oh, actually, I do know. This just becomes a 4th Max Potion. A 4th Max Potion, or just an extra item card of whatever you think you would junk hunt for the most. So you could do a 4th Max Potion or a 3rd Startling Megaphone just to give yourself a better Gardevoir matchup. But yeah, that's basically it. So that becomes one of those. And then this Dark Patch, it's kind of an open spot, I think. You could run a 3rd Baby Yveltal, but that seems kind of overkill. It could just become another consistency card. Maybe you want to run 14 supporters instead of 13. You can do Dark Patch for that. This could also be the 2nd Shadow Circle. Sorry, my voice cracks. When you talk this long, your mouth starts to dry out, so it cracks. But anyway, this could be a lot of different things. But this deck isn't going to get hit that hard by rotation. So I think that's about it. I know this is a super long video, and I hope you liked it. But I like making these really long videos because it helps you guys out with learning exactly what to do with these type of decks. So this is kind of like a big guide to how to run Hydreigon decks. So I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more, comment if you want to tell me something, and like if you like the video.